The arena was older than most civilizations. Forged in stone, metal, and legacy, it had seen champions rise, wars settled, empires humbled. Today, it was booked for a joke, because the cadets of the Unified Galactic Academy needed to be taught a lesson. At least, that's what the Frelkin said. And when the Frelkin want to teach a lesson, someone usually ends up in pieces. The champion of today's lesson stood 10 feet tall, covered in ceremonial armor, holding a blade long enough to bisect a shuttle. His name was Korr'Tal of the Iron Spine. He had ended 4 duels this month alone. The other cadets were gathered in the observation dome, whispering nervously, watching the floor of the arena open as the challenger was lowered into place. And then, confusion. Because what stepped out of the lift wasn't a soldier, it wasn't even a warrior. It was a girl. "Is that?" someone asked. "Human," another replied, blinking. "Cadet. Young. Maybe 20. 5 foot nothing in scuffed boots, a wrinkled uniform jacket 3 sizes too big, and hair tied back in a way that screamed zero effort, total defiance. She didn't carry a weapon. She didn't look scared, just annoyed. One of the instructors squinted. "That's Cadet Harper." "No," someone whispered. "They sent her. She's not even combat track. No record, no sparring scores, not even a specialty. What's she holding?" The camera zoomed in. The crowd fell silent. It was a pencil. Up in the arena's command booth, the Frelkin general watched with a sneer. "This is what they send?" he asked the academy's headmaster. Headmaster Roan sighed. "It's disciplinary. She insulted a Graskar dignitary." "What did she say?" "She asked if the Graskar required 4 lungs because they talk so much crap." The Frelkin bared his teeth. "Fitting. She will bleed well." Down below, Harper stood at the center of the sandpit. No armor, no backup. Just a worn-down pencil tucked behind her ear and a look that said she'd rather be literally anywhere else. Across from her, Korr'Tal stomped forward, each step shaking the floor. The announcer's voice thundered, "Begin!" Korr'Tal roared, and Harper yawned. The champion charged. 1 step, 2 steps. He raised his blade, and Harper ducked. Not in a practiced, elegant way, more like she was bending down to tie her boot, except halfway through she shifted, moved, sidestepped, and stuck her pencil into the latching mechanism of Korr'Tal's right knee joint. Click. The armor locked. He stumbled. She moved again, low, fast, improvised, not clean, but unpredictable, like someone navigating life through pure spite and caffeine. She kicked the back of his other knee. Korr'Tal fell, hard. The crowd gasped. So did he. On the second level, a Graskar noble shouted, "Foul!" "No rules were broken," Ron muttered, eyes wide. In the control booth, the Frelkin's sneer faded. "Replay that," he demanded. They did, zoomed in, paused frame by frame. The pencil was still intact. Korr'Tal roared again and swung from the ground. Harper rolled, badly, clumsily, straight into the path of the blade, only to throw her jacket into it. The fabric wrapped around the handle, caught, and then, somehow, she was climbing the blade like a ladder, grabbing the hilt, flipping over him. Her boot hit his temple. He dropped the sword. She landed, winded, bleeding from a shallow cut across her arm. Then she pulled the pencil back from her ear. It clicked twice. Mechanical, modified, nope, just sharpened on both ends. Korr'Tal lunged, bare-handed. Harper sidestepped and drove the pencil straight into the soft tissue just beneath his second jawline, a known blind spot. The big warrior froze, gurgled, dropped. The arena fell silent. No one spoke for a full minute. Then Harper looked up at the announcer's box and called, "Does this mean I'm excused from ethics class?" After Korr'Tal dropped like a sack of flour, things got weird. The silence in the arena wasn't shock anymore. It was recalculation. Hundreds of alien cadets, instructors, dignitaries, and fleet officers were trying to process what they'd just witnessed. A human cadet, unranked, unarmed, had taken down a warrior bred in crucibles and armored in ritual, with a pencil, not metaphorically, a literal wooden graphite sharpened on both ends pencil, and she hadn't even broken a sweat. Up in the instructor gallery, someone finally exhaled. "Should we check if she's okay?" "She's sitting on his chest eating crackers," Roan replied flatly. "I think she's fine." Sure enough, on the arena cam, Cadet Harper was crouched atop the unconscious Korr'Tal like a squirrel defending its stash, munching on a ration bar she'd pulled from her pocket. She waved at the camera with the pencil. Still intact, still terrible. The Frelkin general stormed into the observation deck, demanding explanations. "She cheated!" "She didn't," Ron replied, pinching the bridge of his nose. "The arena rules clearly state, any personal item not classified as a weapon may be carried into the ring." "That was a weapon." "It was a number 2 pencil, General." "Then make it illegal." Later that day, Harper was called into the Academy's tribunal chamber. She strolled in like she was showing up late to a dentist appointment, boots untied, coffee in hand, pencil still behind her ear. There were 15 beings on the tribunal, representing 9 different species. Some wore ceremonial robes, others wore exosuits. Harper wore a hoodie under her cadet jacket and carried a folder labeled, "Probably Important." Inside it, just doodles, mostly of aliens being stabbed by pencils. "Cadet Harper," began Admiral Thune, a sentient obsidian cube who pulsed with authority. "Do you understand why you're here?" "Because I used a pencil to stab a war god," murmurs. Thune paused. "In part." Harper crossed her arms. "Look, you threw me into a death pit without a weapon. What did you think was going to happen? You were supposed to lose." "That's a weird plan." They tried to assess her, tried to label it. Human aggression. Death world instincts. Unpredictable neuropatterns. But Harper's psych report was a blank slate. No military background, no known combat history, average physical stats, below average coordination. The only thing of note? A flagged warning from her third-year strategy professor that read, "Refuses to follow instructions, builds traps out of school supplies, avoid pissing her off." The footage went viral, galactic-wide. Within hours, the match was memed across 5 systems. One popular edit had Harper slow-motion pencil-stabbing Korr'Tal while O Fortuna played in the background. Another cut in sound bites from human news anchors screaming, "Local girl absolutely wrecks God-blood warrior with office tool." Within 12 hours, Team Pencil was trending. Within 24, Earth stores sold out of mechanical pencils. Back on campus, Harper was not impressed. She was back in her dorm, curled up in bed with snacks and headphones, watching documentaries about obscure Earth creatures. The door buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again. "Go away." "Cadet Harper, this is Commander Delic. Open the door." "No." "We want to discuss tactical recruitment." "No." "We have funding for specialized independent research." The door slid open. Harper blinked. "Go on." They gave her a lab. That was their first mistake. Technically, it was a tactical research chamber, but Harper immediately turned half of it into a pillow fort, parked a snack drawer under the console, and installed a whiteboard labeled, "How to Beat Things Bigger Than You." Step 1. Be weirder than the problem. Step 2. Use the unexpected. Step 3. Carry a pencil. That last part was underlined 12 times and circled in red ink, glitter glue, and, somehow, peanut butter. No one was sure why. But no one asked. The Academy's Tactical Development Division thought they could harness her, deconstruct the incident, train others to replicate it. They brought in psychologists, military analysts, alien strategists with entire neural arrays dedicated to threat prediction. None of them lasted more than 5 minutes in the room with her. One Grelak veteran left mumbling about how she smelled like entropy and last-minute brilliance. Another requested reassignment to literally anywhere without humans. So they tried simulations, gave Harper access to every combat scenario in the galactic playbook. She failed most of them, spectacularly. She fell asleep during one, wandered off in the middle of another to ask the sim opponent if they'd ever tried grilled cheese. On paper, she looked like a liability, but in the real-world sims, she won, every time, because she didn't follow any pattern. One time she faked a panic attack to lure a squad into an ambush made out of cleaning robots. Another, she escaped capture by pretending to be maintenance staff, then using a mop as a distraction. Once, she beat a heavy assault drone using only a roll of duct tape and a truly unsettling amount of bubble gum. The instructors were baffled. Her notes were incomprehensible. Her strategy briefings contained things like, "If stabbed, try being unpredictable." "Confidence is 70% of battle, the rest is caffeine." "They can't hit you if you're confusing enough." One page just said, "Have you considered—" Word got out. Other cadets started approaching her. Some were curious, some wanted tips, some just wanted to sit near her and hope her chaos rubbed off. She didn't mind, so long as they brought snacks. Within a week, she had a small following, a semi-organized group of misfits. Unofficially, they called themselves the Scribblers. They all carried pencils now, not for writing, for just in case. The Frelkin, meanwhile, were furious. Korr'Tal had recovered, barely. His pride hadn't. He demanded a rematch. The Academy refused. "Let it go," Ron said. "You've already lost." "To a child," Korr'Tal snarled. "To a cadet," Ron corrected. "And you didn't lose because she was stronger." "Then why?" Ron looked at the arena footage again, paused it at the moment Harper rolled into action with no form, no logic, and absolute intent. "She beat you because you assumed she wouldn't." Back on Earth, Harper's story had become myth. Every human child now carried a pencil with pride. One Earth news host held up a replica and said, "Today's forecast, high chance of chaos, brought to you by school supplies." Even the military started issuing tactical pencils for morale. And Harper? She just wanted to nap. But they wouldn't stop scheduling interviews, training sessions, special ops consults. So one day, she walked into the Academy Command Center, dropped her schedule on the desk and said, "I'll do all of it, but first, I want a field test." Ron leaned forward. "Against what?" She smiled, tired and sharp. "The next biggest thing you've got." They didn't expect her to be serious. Cadet Harper asking for a field test was assumed to be a joke, another sarcastic jab in a long line of half-sincere chaos. But she showed up, early, wearing a patchwork uniform, fingerless gloves, and a sharpened pencil tucked behind each ear like a pair of holstered daggers. "What's she even going to do?" asked one of the Graskar tacticians. "Stare the enemy to death?" "She did that once," muttered someone nearby. They flinched. The mission was simple. Well, classified technically, but the short version was this. A rogue war beast, genetically modified and brain-augmented, had broken containment on Vrax 7. The thing had teeth longer than Harper's leg, skin like tank armor, and a rage index that made it legally a natural disaster. No ranged weapons worked. No team had survived close combat. Naturally, she volunteered. The deployment team watched as she strolled into the shuttle with one backpack, a granola bar, and a utility pouch filled with 4 pencils, a length of string, a paperclip, and, for some reason, glitter. "Where's your weapon?" someone asked. Harper tilted her head. "This is my weapon." She held up a pencil. Yellow. Standard Earth number 2, sharpened to a wicked point. The alien next to her backed away slightly. They dropped her alone into the hot zone. Drones followed from a safe distance, broadcasting the feed to command. The war beast roared in the distance, something between a thunderclap and a dying engine. Harper didn't flinch. She crouched beside a tree, pulled out a notepad, and wrote something. Then she looked directly at the drone camera and said, "Step 1, introduce confusion." She threw a pencil. It bounced off a rock. The war beast turned, growled. Harper disappeared into the underbrush. What followed wasn't combat. It was art. She tripped every sensor the beast had, triggered decoy flares, painted misleading scent trails using old MRE source packets. She constructed tiny traps out of sticks, string, and psychology. At one point, she led the creature into its own containment cage by staging an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine involving 3 pencils, 2 rubber bands, and a sandwich. The drone feed caught it all. Command was stunned. "Is she taunting it?" "She's doodling in the dirt." "What is that?" "It's a caricature of the war beast, crying." When the creature finally cornered her, she didn't run. She stood still, pulled out her final pencil, and jammed it into the beast's left ocular sensory node. The thing collapsed like a dropped server rack. The feed went dark. For 10 seconds, no one breathed. Then Harper's voice came through. "Target neutralized. I need a snack." The video went viral within 3 hours. By 6, the term pencil protocol had entered 3 military doctrine drafts. By 12, multiple alien species added a note to their threat databases. Humans may appear unarmed. This is a trap. The Academy offered her a commendation. She declined it.